Welcome back, everyone. You guys asked for a deep dive on what really makes success tick, not just the surface stuff.
Getting to the heart of it.
Exactly. So we're going deep with Kazuo Inamori's A Passion for Success.
Great choice.
This guy, built two massive companies in Japan, Kyocera and KDDI, so he's walked the walk.
Not just an armchair philosopher.
No way!
Okay.
You wanted to know, right? Can you be ambitious without, selling your soul?
Hey,
And how do you achieve success that actually matters?
the big questions.
That's where Inamori comes in. He's got some seriously powerful answers.
What I find fascinating about his approach is that he doesn't oversimplify things.
Right, no quick fixes.
He really lays out a framework to look at success holistically, taking into account not just our skills and the effort we put in, but also our mindset, even our values.
You're hitting on a key point. It's not just about the hustle, right? He's got this famous success equation.
Oh yeah, life's result equals ability times efforts times attitude.
Sounds simple at first, but then you realize he says attitude can range from -100 to +100.
Whoa, that's a huge swing.
Massive.
And that's where things get really interesting. He's saying even if you have crazy talent and you're working hard, a negative attitude can completely wreck it all.
Sabotage your own success, basically.
And on the flip side, the right attitude can, boost your abilities to do things you never thought possible.
See, I knew this would tie back to your question about ambition and ethics. Can you be driven without being a jerk?
Exactly. And Inamori actually tells a story that makes this so clear. After he graduated, he couldn't find a job. Rejection after rejection.
Oof, I've been there.
Started to get really resentful, even thought about becoming like a modern-day Robin Hood, stealing from the rich.
Whoa, so close to going full vigilante. What stopped him?
He realized that even if he could pull it off, all that anger, it would destroy him. It was a turning point. He recognized how powerful attitude is and decided to change his.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. So how do we actually cultivate a positive attitude, especially when life gets tough? Is this just fake it till you make it stuff?
Inamori would say it goes way deeper than that. It's about examining what you believe in, your values, why you do what you do.
So figuring out what truly matters to you.
Yes. He says real, lasting success comes from living a life that lines up with those deep values.
Makes sense, but also kind of scary, right? Where do you even start?
One place to start is with this idea of mastering your instincts. You know how humans have basic instincts like animals? Eating, fighting, wanting to possess things, jealousy.
Yeah, that primal stuff.
It keeps us alive, but it can also really mess us up if we let it.
Classic angel and devil on your shoulder situation.
Totally. Inamori's saying we have to learn to control those urges so our smarts and our values can guide us. He uses a great analogy, two types of students, the bookworm and the playboy.
Oh, I can picture them already.
The bookworm might not be the most naturally gifted, but they put in the work. They study, they push through. The playboy, well, he coasts on charm, cuts corners.
This isn't just about school, though, right? It's bigger than that.
Right. It's how we approach everything. Inamori's point is putting in consistent effort, like being willing to wait for the reward and fight those easy impulses. That's what leads to understanding, wisdom, lasting success. The bookworm ends up with this depth that the playboy just doesn't have.
Okay, starting to see how these pieces fit together. Attitude helps you master those urges, shapes your effort, and then boom, that's what determines the results you get.
You got it. And that leads us to, well, maybe one of his most mind-blowing ideas, mastering one thing to understand the universe.
Wait, just one thing. What about being well-rounded, trying different stuff?
That's what most people think. Inamori isn't saying become super specialized. He's talking about getting so good at one thing that you unlock these deep insights that apply to everything.
This is getting a little abstract for me. Need an example.
Imagine a carpenter. Spent their whole life honing their craft. Over decades, they haven't just developed skills, but this profound understanding of wood, tools, structure, even nature itself.
So they see the connections between things that most people miss.
Exactly. It's about a level of understanding that shows how everything's linked. Inamori believes, by really diving deep into one area, you gain focus and discipline that makes you better at learning anything.
This is making me rethink my jack-of-all-trades approach, but how do you figure out what that one thing should be?
Now, that's the individual's journey. But Inamori would say, look at what you're passionate about, your natural talents, and then commit to getting unbelievably good at them.
Not just passion, but directed passion.
Exactly. And this is where he gets really interesting about long-term plans. He's super skeptical about them. Believes the best way to predict the future is to live fully today.
Hold on, no planning at all.
Not quite. It's about if you focus on doing your absolute best right now, make great decisions, take action, the future will reflect that effort naturally.
Like the best way to predict the future is to create it. Idea. But this is about more than just working hard, right?
You nailed it. It's about bringing the right attitude, the right intention to everything you do.
Mm.
It's like if we're always aiming for excellence, living by our values, trying to make the world better, the success that comes is way beyond money or fame.
I'm sensing a pattern here. It's not chasing success for its own sake, it's making your ambitions meaningful. This is all starting to make sense.
And you know what really brings this home? He talks about how his first job, which was a total mess, actually changed everything for him.
Wait, I thought he built these huge, successful companies. How is his first job a good thing?
The company was struggling. Paychecks were late, no bonuses, everyone was miserable. He was ready to quit, but his brother convinced him to stick it out. The job market was tough.
So instead of running, he changed what he could control, his attitude.
Exactly. Even though things were bad, he focused on the positive.
Did it work?
Big time. He started pouring himself into his research. And since the company was, well, not full of top talent, he stood out. His boss started praising him, which made him work even harder.
So a job that seemed like a curse forced him to level up. I bet that's what shaped his whole philosophy about facing challenges head on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking back, he says if he'd started in some cushy job, he might not have achieved what he did. The challenges made him dig deep, find his passion, become resilient.
Smooth seas don't make skillful sailors, right? We need some resistance to grow. How does this idea of challenges fit into everything else?
It goes back to that idea of fulfillment coming from taking the harder path. He compares it to climbing a mountain. Sure, there's an easier path, but a lot of people give up before they reach the top that way.
He's saying the reward is bigger when you overcome something tough.
Exactly. It's about pushing yourself, embracing the struggle as part of the process. Inamori believes that willingness to choose the hard path, that's crucial for real success.
This is getting really practical. I can see how to use this in my own life, and we've just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to talk about. Amoeba management, how important sincerity and trust are.
Okay, we're definitely diving into those next. This is just the beginning.
So where we left off, Inamori's view on building trust is super interesting. At first, he thought finding trustworthy people to work with, that was the key.
Makes sense. Surround yourself with good people.
Right. But then he had this realization. You can't attract those people unless you're trustworthy.
It's like a mirror. You have to embody what you're looking for.
Total shift in thinking. Seeking external trust was pointless unless he lived by those same principles. Walking the talk, actions matching your values, holding yourself to a high standard.
I'm noticing how much he focuses on personal responsibility. No blaming, no excuses, just am I worthy of trust? Powerful stuff.
And this leads to another big idea, sincerity. He says, you exist, that's why I exist.
Whoa. Stops you in your tracks.
It's the opposite of being self-centered.
I love that quote. Reminds you we're all connected. But sincerity in business, isn't it cutthroat out there?
Inamori would actually say, sincerity is crucial for success. It's about seeing the value in others, genuinely wanting to help them, building relationships based on respect and trust.
So it's creating win-win situations, not just using people for your own gain.
Exactly. And this takes us to his management style, which he calls amoeba management.
Okay, I'll admit, when I first heard this, I was like, it sounded kind of squishy. How can a company run efficiently if it's like constantly splitting and changing?
Yeah, it's definitely unique, but stick with me. The basic idea is to break the company down into these small, self-managing units, each with its own profit and loss statement.
So instead of a rigid hierarchy, you're giving power to people on the ground level.
Exactly. It creates this sense of entrepreneurship everywhere. Each amoeba has autonomy, makes its own decisions, does what's best for their unit and the whole company.
I can see how that could work, but how do you make sure everyone's working towards the same goal? Does it just become chaos?
This is where Inamori's 7 principles come in. They spell out passion.
Okay, love a good acronym. What does PASSION stand for?
Making customers happy comes first. Sounds basic, right?
Sure.
But it's more than just meeting needs. It's going above and beyond, helping customers become more profitable themselves.
It's about adding real value, not just making a sale.
Exactly. Long-term relationships built on trust and everyone benefiting. Which leads to the next one, Pursue profit fairly.
Wait, so he's not anti-profit. I thought he was all about ethics.
He is, but he sees profit as the reward for doing things the right way. It's finding that balance. Ambition without losing your values.
This is speaking directly to our listener who wants to be ambitious and ethical. So what are some of the other principles?
There's setting a visible goal, being ambitious, sure, but having a concrete plan to get there.
No vague dreams without action.
Right. It's about taking concrete steps. Each amoeba knows how it contributes to the big picture. Accountability, ownership.
Combining vision with actually getting things done.
Right.
Love it. What else?
Improving everything constantly. He's all about Kaizen, the Japanese idea of continuous improvement, always finding ways to do things better, even the smallest tasks.
So it's not just about big ideas, it's those small changes that add up over time.
Exactly. And this actually ties into, get this, unleashing the power of the subconscious mind.
Whoa, okay, now we're getting deep.
Right. Inamori thinks our subconscious is way more powerful than we realize. He says through focused effort, repetition, we can train it to solve problems even when we're not thinking about them directly.
So it's like planting a seed and letting your mind do the work behind the scenes.
That's the idea. Breakthroughs in innovation, it's not always forcing your brain. It's about creating the right environment for it to happen. Which leads to another principle. Building team spirit.
This seems like it could be tough, right? If each unit's kind of competing against each other, how do you get everyone working together?
Inomori's view is that healthy competition actually makes the team stronger. The environment is all about striving for excellence, but also supporting each other's growth. Celebrate successes, learn from failures, together.
It's a key difference, not cutthroat, but a culture of support and constant learning.
Yes, and the final principle, which we've touched on, is living earnestly today. Focus on the now. Do your absolute best in every single task. Trust that all that effort adds up to a better future.
It's not dwelling on the past or worrying about what might happen. It's about bringing your A game to every moment.
That's it. He believes if you do that, live with purpose. Make choices that match your values. Try to make the world better. Success will follow.
My mind is blown. Amoeba management is more than just a structure. It's a way of life.
And it shows how much he believes in people. He really thinks ordinary folks can do extraordinary things if they're given the right environment, the right tools, the right motivation. But there's more to it, especially when it comes to leadership.
Okay, let's go there. What makes his view of leadership so different?
Well, he believes strength comes from self-sacrifice. True leadership, it's not about you, it's about putting the group first.
So not the boss mentality, but serving the team, even making sacrifices for them. Doesn't that lead to burnout, though?
He knows it's tough, but the rewards are worth it. He says, when a leader shows they'll put the team first, it creates trust, loyalty, dedication from everyone.
It's that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But what does that actually look like in practice?
He gives an example. Some executives might put their headquarters far from the plant or sales office just because it's convenient for them.
So he's saying a real leader would think about how that impacts the employees, their commutes, their connection to the actual work.
Exactly. Think beyond yourself. Put the organization first. And it's not just the big stuff, it's the little choices too.
Leading by example, showing you're in the trenches with them.
He also talks about being authentic, transparent. If you're saying one thing but not living it, people see right through that.
You can't just talk the talk, gotta walk the walk.
And this emphasis on integrity connects to innovation. He's all about constantly improving, even the simplest things. He says big breakthroughs, they don't usually come out of nowhere.
So not just eureka moments.
Right, they come from tons of tiny improvements, people questioning how things are done, always trying to make things better.
There's that recurring theme, little actions adding up over time to create something amazing.
Exactly. And he gives an example from Kyocera. They were making ceramic packages for circuits. The experts were like, nope, can't be done. You're doing it wrong.
Going against the grain, love it. What happened?
Inamori and his team, they didn't give up, kept experimenting, didn't listen to the naysayers. And boom, they made a product that became $1 billion business.
Wow, that's the power of sticking to your vision, even when people doubt you. But it takes more than just being stubborn, right?
Absolutely. Inamori says you got to have a positive outlook, believe in the possibility of success. If you start with doubts, you're already setting yourself up to fail.
So mindset is key. But how do you stay positive when things are tough? Is it just positive self-talk?
He says it's deeper than that. He tells his employees to boast and then make it come true. Like, be bold with your dreams, set big goals, then work like crazy to make them happen.
That's great. Dream big and then back it up with action. But what about people who aren't naturally that driven? How do you create that fire in yourself?
And Inamori gets that not everyone's the same. He has this analogy about different types of matter: combustible, non-combustible, and spontaneously combustible.
Okay, I'm listening.
The most productive people, they're like that spontaneously combustible stuff. Natural go-getters, passionate, they get everyone fired up.
The ones who just light up the room, their energy is contagious?
Exactly. Then there's the non-combustible type. They might have skills, but no spark. They need someone to, like, light a fire under them to get them going.
And the combustible type, they need to be around that energy to really shine.
His point is, we should all aim to be those spontaneous ones, bring our own energy and inspire others. But he knows not everyone's naturally that way.
So what about the rest of us? Are we stuck?
He believes everyone can cultivate that inner fire, even if it doesn't come easy. Find work that excites you, aligns with your values. Surround yourself with people who are already on fire.
So it's about the right fuel, the right environment, the right people to spark your own flame.
You got it. Inamori believes everyone has potential. It's about tapping into that, having the right mindset, going after your goals relentlessly.
This isn't just about business. This is about living a fulfilling life, driven by purpose and integrity, wanting to make a real difference. But what about failure? What happens when those big goals don't work out?
That's where his message of perseverance comes in. He says, you haven't failed until you stop trying. It's all about persistence, pushing through even when things are tough.
So failure isn't the end, it's how you deal with it that matters.
Right. He sees setbacks as opportunities to learn and get stronger. Embrace the struggle.
Like weightlifting, you got to tear down the muscle to rebuild it stronger.
Exactly. He believes we grow the most when we're challenged, pushed beyond our limits. And this goes back to that subconscious mind idea.
Back to the subconscious. Sensing this is key for him. How does it help us overcome challenges?
He thinks our subconscious is a huge asset when things get tough. Think about learning to drive. At first, it's overwhelming. You're thinking about every little thing.
Then it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Right. That's what he wants us to do with our work. Develop those skills, those habits of excellence, until they're second nature.
So even when we're struggling, our mind is working on solutions in the background.
That's the idea. When you reach that level, your mind can come up with new ideas, see connections you wouldn't consciously. But it's not just skills. Inamori says you need a clear philosophy, a set of principles to guide you.
Like having an internal compass, knowing what you stand for, what you'll fight for when things get tough.
He says when you have that moral foundation, you're less likely to be swayed by pressure or temptation. You'll make decisions that match your values, even when they're hard or unpopular.
That's integrity,
Right.
doing the right thing even when no one's watching. But what about when your values clash? How do you navigate those gray areas where there's no easy answer?
He knows those situations happen. He says you got to understand your own values and trust your gut. And get advice from people you trust. Mentors who can see things from different angles.
So it's not about having all the answers, it's about being willing to ask for help. But how do you know who to trust?
That's discernment, something you develop over time. Through mistakes, learning to trust your intuition, and surrounding yourself with people who share your values and have proven themselves trustworthy.
Your inner circle, the people who will challenge you but also support you. What about the ups and downs of business, the booms and busts? How does he say to deal with that?
He uses the example of the bubble economy in Japan. People getting rich quick through speculation, then losing it all when the bubble burst.
So don't get caught up in the hype, good or bad.
Right. He says, develop a long-term perspective, build a foundation that can handle anything. Real success is built on hard work, integrity, adding value to the world.
It's playing the long game, not chasing quick wins or shortcuts. You said earlier he thinks ordinary people can do extraordinary things. That's so powerful, but how do we do that? Where do we even start?
Great question. He talks about the importance of understanding the essence of your business. Why do you do what you do? What value do you offer? What makes you unique?
Getting back to the core, the purpose behind the work. But why is that so important?
He tells this story. During a land boom in Japan, everyone wanted him to invest in real estate.
Jumping on the bandwagon.
Right. But he was like, no, Kyocera makes products. We add value. We don't play those games.
And I'm guessing that paid off when the bubble burst.
Big time. Kyocera was way stronger than companies that got caught up in the hype. They stayed true to themselves, focused on building a solid business.
Sometimes the bravest move is to stay focused on what matters. But what about our employees? How do we create an environment where they can do their best work?
That's huge for Inamori. He says, take care of your people. Create a workplace where they feel valued, respected, and empowered. Happy employees are productive employees.
It's about creating a culture of care, support, encouragement. But how do you actually do that?
He talks about offering opportunities to grow, recognizing hard work, rewarding it, creating a sense of community.
So everyone wins. The company succeeds and the employees thrive.
Exactly. He wants workplaces where people have purpose, feel like they belong, they're excited to come to work, contribute to something bigger than themselves.
It's shifting from transactions to relationships, seeing employees as partners in success.
And this ties into another idea. Leadership is a privilege, not a right. If you have power, you have to use it wisely, ethically. Serve your people, make a positive impact on society.
Leading with humility, recognizing we're all in this together, using your influence to lift others up. We've covered so much, and yet I feel like we're just getting started.
There's layers to this, for sure, and I think it's important to remember, Inamori isn't just theorizing. He built two hugely successful companies.
That real-world experience makes a difference.
Totally. And one of the biggest takeaways is his belief in people. He thinks we all have the potential to do amazing things, to make the world better, to live lives full of purpose.
I'm definitely feeling that right now.
All right, so that heaven concept might sound kind of out there for business, right?
A little bit, yeah. How does Inamori connect those dots?
It might surprise you, but this is actually really important to his whole philosophy. Heaven, for him, it's like a higher power, this guiding force, helping us reach our goals and, well, live a life that matters.
So it's not tied to a specific religion, more like a universal principle.
Exactly. Live ethically. Do the right thing. Put others first. And you kind of align yourself with this higher power. Open yourself to guidance and support. He even talks about these whispers from heaven.
Whispers from heaven, is he talking like actual voices?
Not literal whispers, no. He means those moments of inspiration, insights that come when you're facing tough decisions. Like a sudden flash of clarity, the way forward just appears.
I get it. Like a sign you're on the right track, you can trust your gut. Even for someone not super religious, that's kind of comforting.
Right, like there's something bigger looking out for you. Inamori thinks this connection to a higher purpose. It keeps you motivated, gives you strength when things get rough.
It's faith, not just in yourself, but in something beyond yourself. Ties back to that idea, right? Success comes from connecting your ambitions to a deeper meaning.
You got it. When you go after your goals with integrity, wanting to contribute to the world, it's like you tap into this energy, this inspiration that's bigger than you.
Like plugging into a universal power source.
Exactly. And it helps you deal with the tough stuff too, the challenges, the setbacks. Inamori thinks when those come up, it's a sign you're being tested, pushed to grow.
Like those video games, gotta level up to face the bigger boss.
Right. He says, see those challenges as chances to build your willpower, become more resilient, ultimately, a better, more caring person.
This whole conversation has been so inspiring. But what about when you feel lost? When you don't know what path to take, or that sense of purpose is shaky? What does Inamori say about that?
He says, look inward. Take time for yourself, quiet reflection, to connect with your inner wisdom. We all have this sense of what's right, but it gets drowned out by all the noise around us.
So block out the distractions, listen to that little voice inside.
Yes, meditation, journaling, even just being out in nature, it helps quiet the mind and reconnect with those deep values and dreams. He also says, get advice from people you trust, mentors who can give you an outside perspective, help you grow.
We don't have to have it all figured out, right? Ask for help, get different viewpoints.
Exactly. Inamori believes we're all on this journey, always learning, evolving. We can learn from each other, teach each other, be the student and the teacher.
This goes back to that quote, you exist, that's why I exist. We're all connected. Everyone's story is part of something bigger.
Beautiful way to put it. And I think that's the heart of what Inamori's saying. Real success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about contributing, making the world better, leaving behind a legacy of kindness, compassion, wisdom.
Powerful stuff. We've gone so deep with this, I feel like I've got a whole new way of looking at success. What are some of the key takeaways you hope people are walking away with?
I hope they're fired up to chase their goals, but do it with purpose, the right way. I hope they feel ready to take on challenges, trust their gut, and more than anything, I hope they feel connected to something bigger, like their life has meaning, they can make a difference.
I'm definitely feeling that right now. This has been amazing. We really went deep into Inamori's world. Ambition, ethics, spirituality, all of it. And he really shows you can achieve success on your terms that's meaningful and lasts.
He does. His philosophy is a testament to what people are capable of, how important it is to live with a purpose, how powerful it is to live by your values.
So much to learn from him. If you're feeling inspired, go check out A Passion for Success. It's full of wisdom that can help you achieve success that matters to you, success that really lasts.
And as always, we like to leave you with something to think about. If you could master one skill, just one, what would it be? Why? How would that unlock possibilities in other parts of your life? Think about it, explore it, see where it takes you.
You never know what amazing things you might find. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.